So today, I'm going to talk about how to market to women, but really in a broader context of how to niche market. This is what I'm hoping you'll learn from the presentation. The importance of niche marketing, how to develop niche personas, how to get active on social media. Are any of you active now? Oh, not very many, okay. Website branding, blogging tips. Who has a blog?
Is that yours?
Oh, okay. And how to network with your niche. When I started this business about 11 years ago, I had two strikes against me. I was a career changer, as Eric mentioned, and I also had never run my own business before. And instead of joining a firm, I decided I didn't want a boss, because I had many in my food marketing career. I didn't want any more. And so I started my own firm. And you all know how difficult that might have been, not coming from a financial industry, jumping right in and starting my own firm. I don't know how many of you have done that, but I would not recommend that to anybody. In fact, a lot of women come to me and ask me my opinion about that, and I say, join a firm, learn the ropes from somebody else, because it's really difficult. So for the first several years, I didn't have a niche, and I was marketing to everybody and anybody, and I had a very bland internet presence. And it wasn't until about 2008 when I took a 12-week branding course that I decided to market directly to women, and my whole world changed from then on. So this presentation will be about niche marketing, but kind of using myself as a case study to show you some of the things that I've done. So why niche? For me, it made it so much easier to know where to spend my marketing dollars, and also to build good content that I could use in my internet marketing strategy, because I know exactly who I am talking to and who I'm writing for. And that is so valuable in getting new clients or getting prospects to notice you. What is it? It's just picking a particular type of clientele and building a practice around them as far as services, and then marketing to them. So for example, you could pick a profession as your niche. You become an expert in physician practices, for example, or you become an expert in the issues that athletes face. Does anybody do that in here? Okay. Or you do what I did, and I took a broad class of people, women. I mean, come on, is that a niche? No, it's 50% of the population. So no, it's definitely not a niche. But then I honed in and I identified personas. I call them niche personas within this niche of women. And how did I do that, and what is a good way to do that? After a few years, I was in practice for 6-7 years. I looked through my client base and I thought about, who do I enjoy working with? My client base already was largely women, but I thought, so why not own that? Why not just jump off the cliff and it's not that I won't work with men either. That's not what this is about. In fact, if you niche, you're going to get clients of all types. I mean, it's not like you're going to turn off anybody. But I have to admit, the majority of people that come to me are women. That's okay with me, because guess who controls a lot of the wealth in the United States? Women. So, there were good business reasons why I did this too. Okay, so these are the reasons. I'm sorry, I can't see those that well. Anyway, you want to make sure that you have a personal connection with the clients, that you share values, that you have a communication style that you have in common with. For example, with women, when women come into my office, we chit-chat for quite a while about anything but business. And we get that comfort level and trust going. I like that style. It works for me. It seems to work for women. That's an example of communication style. You learn about their concerns and problems, so you know how to talk about what might be bothering them when you come in. and you learn about their interests and hobbies. So this would be for any particular niche. So these are some of the reasons. I find women easy to talk to, and they're very open about their lives, not only their lives, but their finances. They'll tell you, they trust you, women will tell you just about anything, their love lives, whatever. All that does, it creates this great trust so you can get into the deeper issues of money. Women tend not to be ego-driven, and what I mean by that is when it comes to investing, because I am an investment advisor too, they don't feel like they have to control the investment outcome as much. What a relief. I have found that to be a different experience with a lot of men who want to control the investment outcome, or who don't, and I see this, I see it with my couples clients. So women are more willing to let me manage their money than the man in the couple. So the reason I'm picking this niche is it makes it easier for me to do business. And women are willing to admit they need help. I saw a need back then, 2008, that advisors were not focusing on women clients. Now all you do, you open anything, investment news, financial planning magazine, see these huge spreads about women and what a great client they make. But then not that many people were doing it. They do control the majority of the wealth, and that's growing, and they live longer than men. So if you stay in business a long time, you're going to have these clients for a long time. So those are some of the reasons. I find women more comfortable in paying for my services. I do not get pushback on my fees from women. Men try to negotiate with me on my fees all the time. I don't know if that's your experience or not, but that's what I really get that. They don't want to pay the 1%. They want to know if you'll do a lump sum. Will you review my portfolio in one time and I can come back in a year? And when you've got an AUM model, no, you're not going to do that. But so I find women are more willing to just take the fees at face value and figure out whether they want to pay the fees or not. So I dug in, after I picked women to market to, broad base, I thought, what kinds of women do I want to market to? What makes the most sense? So I found 3 types of personas for me. One is the mid-career female professional. She's in her 40s, 50s. A lot of times with me, she's single, either through divorce, never married. She is so bored with corporate life. So these are the things I've discovered. And this is how you look at your persona. Totally bored, cannot wait to get out and retire. And what really would like to do is retire and do something else that's more meaningful. I hear that a lot. So they come wanting to know, am I saving enough? Do I have enough money to retire? And can I do this next thing that I want to do? So there's a lot of planning issues around that. They don't have any time to enjoy their hobbies. They don't have a lot of leisure. There's a lot of frustration there. And the bag lady worry comes up a lot with this type too. Am I going to have enough? Then the second persona is, and this is the most profitable persona, is the older woman. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me talk about one more thing on the mid-career professional first. Her pain points. So those are some of the characteristics. Then you hone in on the pain points that this persona might be experiencing. And as I said, frustration, no time to enjoy hobbies, not enough time for leisure, worried about retirement, worried about aging, and worried about being relevant as they age. That comes up a lot. Women who are in big companies are maybe 55, they look around them, and all of a sudden everyone's 30, and they're thinking, am I going to survive the next layoff? So those are some of the planning issues around that, and they really need help. So if you can target your content marketing to those pain points, guess what? They're going to want to talk to you. So the next persona is retired, widowed, or divorced. These women are in their late 60s, 70s. This is my most profitable client. Usually they have a lot of money. They've inherited a big IRA from their husband, those kind of things. They're withdrawing from their assets. They love leisure. They have no plans to remarry. They're willing to pay for service because they're used to that. They're used to paying professionals through their lives. And they have a lot of money to spend. They have a lot of leisure time. I like this client a lot. Their pain points are, will I run out of money? No matter how much money somebody has, people are always worried that they're going to run out because they're living on a fixed income at this point. So that's definitely their pain point. They're worried about their health and health care costs. They're worried about leaving something to their grandkids or their children. And they're worried about being alone. So this is a great client. First off, sometimes they like advisors even for companionship and things like that. I mean, I find this to be a really satisfying relationship as a client. And plus, they have more assets, so they tend to be more profitable. Okay, the last client, and I am struggling to find a way to work with this client and make it profitable, but I really want to have this type of client because, of course, they're the future. So this is the young professional or self-employed woman. These women are in their careers early, they're starting to make good money, but they're usually saddled with student loan debt, for example. They have cash flow issues. They spend too much money on dining out, bars, and clothes. But they're very smart, and when they come to a financial advisor, they know they want to get it right. So I don't want to turn these kind of clients away, and they are out there in droves. The millennial, you know how big that generation is. So their pain points are debt. No one, it seems, has good financial education in this country. I don't know why. I get a lot of women in this group saying, I am clueless about my money. They use the word, women use the word clueless a lot, which actually can be a benefit to all of us because it means they need help. Their cost of living, San Francisco, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm sure it's the same here, is so high that they're living with 3 roommates, you know, all that stuff, and they don't want to do that forever, so they want to know how to get out of that. And managing cash flow, like I said, have a hard time keeping it together. So that's how I have my practice. When I do my content marketing, and we'll get into this branding thing, I'm thinking about those 3 types of women now. Maybe other types will come, but those are the 3 I've identified, and it's a way to really target in on your marketing. So the next few sections are going to be about branding and marketing. And so let's say you pick your niche. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be women of any kind, whatever. Now you're going to get into how do you put all that stuff out there into the world and tell people what you do. And by the way, when you niche, another benefit is you become more referable. So I get a lot of referrals that want, for example, I'll give you a good example. A guy back in Boston, his mother-in-law lives in Piedmont, right on the border of Oakland. He went out to do an online search for an advisor in her area. He found me and 2 other financial advisors, which he then told her to interview. And she interviewed and she hired me. She has a $3 million portfolio that she's withdrawing from. She's one of my profitable older women, very interesting woman. Love working with her. But if I wasn't on social media and didn't have a really targeted, branded website and all that, I really doubt if that guy would have found me on an internet search. So that's a good example of the value of this kind of thing. So, importance of internet marketing. Internet marketing means you have a great website, you do some blogging, you have an email newsletter, you tweet, you Facebook, you do LinkedIn, you may write an ebook, you may do some video, YouTube video, or you may podcast. Is anybody doing any of these things now in any significant way? Okay, a few of you are. Which one do you find the most value of right now?
The newsletter.
The newsletter, yeah. Newsletters are, I think, and that's kind of old-fashioned. Mm-hmm. I mean, newsletters aren't even the new thing. But I send out a newsletter, and do you all send out newsletters? Yeah, okay, so a lot of you are doing that. I find that a great value. But I think social media, a lot of you aren't using it. I think you should consider it. So before I get into the platforms, these are kind of the 5 rules of social media marketing that I have discovered in my use. One is, you don't have to be on all the social platforms. It would take up so much time. You find the one that best reflects who you are and what your niche, where your niche is, okay? Not everybody's going to be tweeting, not everybody's on Facebook, not everyone's on LinkedIn. So you really got to do some thinking about that. Because let's face it, it takes time, right? And all of us don't have it. if you do it, you got to be present and consistent. So the worst thing, well, you know, when you open up someone's blog and they haven't written a blog post in 2 years, you're like, click. Automatically you think, old, this isn't going to be of value to me. That's what happens when somebody goes on one of these profiles and you haven't tweeted in 9 months. In fact, there's apps to clean out people that haven't tweeted in 9 months. You're just going to get deleted. So if you're going to make the commitment to do it, you need to be there. Don't get discouraged if you don't get clients right away. I've been doing this since 2008, and it takes time. But any marketing takes time when you think about it. It's not just social media marketing that takes time. But now it kind of like builds on itself, and then it gets critical mass or whatever, and all of a sudden you're getting referrals everywhere, from Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and you can't believe it. So it pays not to get discouraged. It's not a selling tool, like you don't make, and plus we can't sell, it's a compliance thing. Compliance isn't as onerous as you think. I know a lot of you are probably thinking that. The rules have come out. As long as you're not, touting stocks and saying you've got great performance, the last 10 years, you can tweet about a lot of things. I mean, personal financial topics, especially broader, and that will help your niche, are the best things to talk about. Not what stock to buy or what asset allocation to have. That's kind of on the line of not okay. So it's content marketing, which we'll get into, is really content is king. So this is probably the most important statement about social media, is your content is the most important thing. Because one, it'll make people want to follow you because you're interesting and have something of value. And two, if you niche right and you really are focused, your niche is going to find your content and they're going to read it and they may call you. So that's why content is so important of social media. I'm going to go over the social platforms in the order that I like them and that I have found over the last 6 years have been of value to me, and I'm kind of surprised at how it's changed. Facebook, surprisingly, a lot of people hate Facebook. I'm sure a lot of you in this room do. They keep changing the rules, they get intrusive. It's like the devil's bargain to be involved with them. But I found Facebook, and I'm not talking business page, I'm talking personal profile, is becoming one of my best ways to get clients. This is a very passive way to market. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not talking about my practice. I'm liking people's stuff. I'm posting pictures of myself on the weekend. And so this, one thing you have to be careful of, because I do connect with some clients. Be careful which clients you connect with, because if you're having too much fun, that's all they're going to see. And they're going to think that's all you're doing is having fun. So I've had some experiences with this where people go, oh, well, so-and-so saw you on Facebook. You're just all over the place. And I'm thinking, is that the image that I want to portray to my clients? Probably not. So that's the one caveat about Facebook. You have to be really kind of thoughtful about who you connect with. I didn't connect with clients at all in the beginning. But this is a really interesting thing I'm finding. When a client that I'm connected to on Facebook comes to my office, I haven't seen them in 6 months, it's like I just saw him yesterday. The feeling is so warm, and I'm like, why does it feel like this person's so comfortable with me? I haven't seen them in 6 months. It's because they've been watching me on Facebook for the last 6 months, and they know I went wine tasting last weekend, So I think this is something to consider. It doesn't have to be hard. It could be just your natural use of Facebook. That's all I do. I just use it the way I use it. I do have a Facebook business page. But I do say later on here you have to have one. I am rethinking the Facebook business page. Facebook has changed the rules with the business pages. Now you have to pay to get your page noticed. Before, you didn't have to. And I automate everything that goes into my page. I don't even look at it. I have a lot of stuff automated in there, so it doesn't take a lot of time. I spend a lot more time on my personal page than my business page now. Twitter is my second favorite. Yeah?
Just real quick.
Yeah.
When you're posting personal messages, etc., are there any disclosure requirements for regulatory?
On your Facebook business page, you have to have a disclosure, but your personal page you don't. And I'm not tweeting about personal finance on my personal page.
So you're just throwing out there, hey, how do they find your personal page and know of you as an advisor without?
Well, you can have a little profile that says you're an advisor. And usually, I don't know about you, but I connect with my friends, so they already know I'm an advisor. It just kind of happens organically. It's hard to explain.
But are you posting information that's relevant to financial advice?
No, not on my personal page. That's what's so interesting. That's why I'm surprised at the reaction I'm getting. Because this is what it is. I really believe this. You're out there on Facebook, all of a sudden someone in your network needs an advisor, right? They're used to seeing you. They know you. They know you're an advisor. They think of you because they're seeing you all the time. I know that's what. I had a client I'm connected on Facebook, a friend, whose husband died suddenly this year, and she, it was a shock. We're friends on Facebook. She Facebook emailed me and said she wanted to talk to me. I'm getting clients with Facebook email, which is so surprising. So that's kind of what I mean. There's ways of people knowing what you do. If I have some pictures from this, I might post them on my Facebook personal page. That's a good example. I've spoken at Morningstar conferences. I'll have a picture of me in front of a group. So you put a few things in there. Does that make sense? Yeah. You can mix it up. In fact, all of this, that's a really good point, because all of these things, it's good to mix up personal and business, not to just be about your business because it's boring. Let's face it, most people don't love to talk about money. They don't. But they do like to hear about other things. So Twitter. Another advantage of Twitter is the media finds you on Twitter. All these little opportunities I've had, CNBC, AOL, it's because I'm always online. I'm out there. I'm writing. They are so thirsty for stories, the media, you can't believe it. I mean, just think of it. They have to reach deadlines like every single day and post and write interesting articles. So if you have stuff to give them, if they can find you, they're going to contact you. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's valuable to be quoted in the national media. Maybe your clients won't see it, but I have a thing on my website where I list every time I'm quoted in the media. You could tweet the stuff, all that. So that's another advantage of Twitter. YouTube is great because in case of my niche, women want to feel that trust thing early on, and they can see you. So I have a welcome video on my website. So, and as a woman, when I go to a website, I love to see the welcome video. So I think that's important. Maybe that's not so important to who you're marketing to, but I think in general, people want to get a better look. It's just another chance before they pick up the phone. LinkedIn, as you know, is like a professional Rolodex. I think you have to be there, and you can be passive on it, but you can also join groups. You can post things on groups, and you can also prospect on LinkedIn, because they've got all these search features. I have to admit, I haven't prospected on LinkedIn. It's something I think about doing, but it seems too pushy to me, and I'd rather do this way. But if you're a kind of advisor that is willing to do that kind of, like if you're a cold caller, you can do LinkedIn prospecting, no problem. I don't know how many of you are that aggressive about going after client. I think if you can do it, it's great, because LinkedIn, everybody in the world is on LinkedIn. These are just a few tips that I already went over. So in all of them, it's be interactive, be on. With Twitter, it's follow people. You can follow people that I have a whole bunch of other financial people that I interact with on Twitter. So it's a real community building thing. I learn a ton of things on Twitter. Like you all know Michael Kitces and all, Bill Winterberg. They are so active on this thing. If you want to keep up on technology or practice management, really easy way to aggregate. You can build lists on Twitter. There are tools to keep it easy, because I know everyone's thinking this sounds like a lot. But there's tools to aggregate lists, so you're only looking at specific people. You don't have to follow a big Twitter stream. You can follow the media so they find you. Okay, YouTube has created trust visually. I talked about that. If you hate writing, because I think blogging is really an important tool for advisors, you could do 1-minute video blogs, so you don't have to write. And there are you. You can post them on your website, post them on Twitter. It's like a protect. This is what I was saying earlier. So I said have to have one. I'm not so sure about that anymore. In fact, I recently had a Twitter interchange with about 10 other advisors. We were talking about the value of Facebook business page. We all have one, and we all agree that they're not bringing in any business. So maybe that, you can scratch that one off your list. So here are some other periphery platforms that I use, but they're not integral to my marketing. I use Pinterest because I think 80% of people on Pinterest are women. And they are there, and it's for the visually inclined. It's a great way, like Facebook personal page, for people to see what you're interested in because you put all these boards up. So I'm there and I use it, I like it. I have a Pinterest personal profile and a business profile, so I post my blog posts on the business profile. I still think that platform is not really good for business, for financial business, because people are there, I think, for a relief, to have fun and see pretty things and decorate their home, and I'm not so sure if it's great for financial. Instagram is another just photography platform. A lot of businesses are using Instagram to market. Again, I think it's not a great place for us, because what are you going to post? Dollar sign, pictures of dollars? I don't know. It's good for home decor, things like that. So you could maybe not do that one. So the keys are being present and consistent, have a strategy. So this sounds, if you're going to do this, I would sit down, if you have a marketing person or speaking about marketing people, I started out completely on my own doing this, using like a website person, but after about 5 years, I decided I could not do it, I needed to hire. So I have a team now that helps me with my marketing, and if you can afford it, oh my God. They help me put this, I mean, they do beautiful work, they take my brand and just do all these great things, and so I can focus on my business more now, which is fantastic. There's a lot of apps to help you out. These are just repeating some of the things that I talked about, that don't get discouraged, don't sell, and content is king. Okay, so we're going to talk about content. How much time, am I running out of time?
Nope, you're doing
Okay.
plenty of time.
Okay, so website. Everyone has a website, I'm sure. If you have a niche, so much easier to build a website. So my website looks a lot like all the branding you see here. It's bright, it's different, it doesn't have people looking at pictures of charts and things like that. It's pink and green and black, and it does appeal to women because I get a lot of compliments on my website when people contact me. So I think it's really important to build a strong website. Get through these. Some of the things that a website can do for you, and I think I even have to learn this. When you think about a website, it's a way to tell people what you do, but it's also a way to capture leads, right? This is a leap for me. I always felt like, oh, I'm just going to give people lots of good content, and I wasn't really asking for anything. But if you talk to any marketers, they waste of time, because people are hitting on your website. If you don't have something for them to sign up for, if it's your newsletter, your ebook, whatever, you're not capturing that email so then you can continue to market to them. Because why were they on your website in the first place? They were probably looking for an advisor or even thinking about hiring an advisor. So now I've got all these marketers call them call to actions, where you have them sign up for something clearly saying, basically, I'm going to market to you, or you're not going to get this. So you're having them opt in. You don't want to spam. But that's a great use of a website to keep your website working for you. Blogs. I write a blog, and I love the blog. I love to write. I have to admit, it's a pain in the butt to always be writing. It takes so much time. It gets easier, but I won't give it up because I get a lot of good feedback from my blog, and it's just worth it. Yeah.
How often do you update your blog?
The blog? I'm about a once a month blog post, which is way too little, but I'm going to continue to do it. I try not to stretch it out any more than that. Most people say you should do a blog once a week. I keep having people tell me that once a week, but I just can't. And so what I'm doing, though, repurposing all this stuff is really good. So if I write a post for CNBC, I will put it on my blog. So that kind of fills in. As long as I link back to them, there's certain things I have to do. I did write an ebook. No, go ahead.
How long or short is it recommended that blogs be?
Short. like
How many words?
500 words, I think max is good. Although sometimes it's really, if you're a really expert in some technical subject, sometimes it's really good to do the longer ones every once in a while. If it's a subject that you know a lot about and you think your market will want to hear about it, because you're the expert then, sort of a white paper type thing. But I think generally speaking, you'll lose people if you write too long. It's better to keep them short and snappy.
Do you think the blog adds a lot to your website's searchability?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just so, you're just putting so much more content
Right.
out there and it changes more often than your website.
Right.
Websites can be pretty static.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you could do a blog, and most WordPress, if you're all on WordPress website, you can get a blog easily. So, I have some ideas in here on how to make the whole blog thing easier, which I'll go over in a minute, where you don't have to do all the work. Ebooks are great. I wrote an ebook called The Happiness Spreadsheet, and it came out of my work with this client that has cash flow issues, and the idea was that you build your budget based on things that make you most happy, and then you don't spend money on the rest. And I thought, great. I can't believe how much I've been able to use that thing as a landing page, capture email. I have it on Amazon. It's just, if you can do something like that, something unique and something that you know, whatever type of client you're looking for will read it and like it, it's really fun to have that out there and be able to, I use it over and over. I think I've had that thing for 3 years. And it was fun to do, too. Oops. Uh-oh, is this thing running out of battery? I think it might have run out of battery. Okay.
What platform do you use for the ebook?
I used Amazon Kindle Publishing, but there's a lot more of them now that I don't know about, unfortunately. Okay, we talked about videos, talked about newsletters. Podcasting's a brand new thing. It's really, I'm thinking about, it's really cheap now to get a little microphone. You could do it yourself. You just, instead of writing a blog, you just talk into this microphone and you can post them. Stephanie Sammons, do you know her? She does Wired Advisor. You should follow her. She's great. She does a lot of this. I think it's the next wave of what to do online. Okay, so content marketing strategies. This is if you want to blog and don't want to run all the time for yourself. You reach out for people to interview and write about. So let's say your market is physicians and there's some new way to build patients that's quicker and it'll save them tons of money. You can interview somebody, some vendor about this and put it on your blog. I have ideas all the time about women I can interview. I sometimes interview women clients that are doing something interesting, put it on my blog, they get the spotlight. Your centers of influence, ask them to write an article for your blog. Your estate planning attorney that you get all kinds of referrals from, or you want to get referrals from, better yet, your CPA that you work with, whatever. Ask them to write an article about their specialty. This is this thing about becoming an expert, writing a white paper or writing an ebook on something that's really important to your market. Create downloadable tools and put them on your website or your blog. Go back to this identifying your persona and their pain points. I would brainstorm, what do my clients worry about at night? What loses sleep? Write about those and post them on your blog. And then a lot of you have a newsletter. I don't know if you do anything with it other than email it out. I post it on Twitter, I post it on Facebook. I use it all over social media so other people see it and maybe will sign on to it. What a great marketing tool to get other people that you don't even know signing up to get your newsletter. And you just get a link and you can post it a lot of places if you're using social media. You can post commentary about the market. You have to be careful about that, but general commentary. And then you can do client case studies. There's lots of interesting ways that you can blog. Okay, so the last point here is networking. And is networking, this is face-to-face that I'm talking about, is it still valuable? So when I started in marketing to women, I joined every single women's group that I could find in the Bay Area. I mean, I really went at this with a vengeance. And I started getting leadership roles in the, so I got to know so many women. There was lots of groups at the time. Ladies Who Launch, there was something called the Hatch Network. There's always been women business owners. There's still lots of those. I was out at night a lot, which it wasn't my, I don't want to be out all the time, I'm busy enough. So I'm not doing that anymore because you don't have to, because you could do it from your sofa with this. So that's why I like this. But I would never have traded that experience because I met so many women that know I'm an advisor, and now I'm connected to all of them on social media, and we see each other all the time on these platforms, so I don't have to see them in person. And guess what? I get referrals from these people. So I think if you pick a niche, in the beginning, it's really good to go out and face-to-face network. But it's amazing how much less you have to do that if your primary marketing focus goes online. And I think a lot of people are still online. That's not to say that face-to-face isn't important. And in a niche, you kind of start to know where your clients hang out, and then you can target where you go. You don't just go to some general mixer anymore, you go somewhere where your client's going to be. So this is kind of a funny story. I like fashion, a lot of women like fashion. I like to shop in small fashion boutiques, not in big department stores. So I had an event in my house last month called, and I've had it 3 years in a row, called Food, Fun, Fashion, Finance. And I invite all women, and I have 4 speakers, and 2 of the topics are fun, and 2 of the topics are serious. I talked about building portfolio or fine-tuning your portfolio. Another woman talked about earthquake insurance, which is really important in the Bay Area, and here. Oh my God, Northridge. And another woman talked about packing in one suitcase for travel, and another one talked about building a succinct wardrobe. It was so much fun. My marketing team filmed it, so I now have a video of it. That's the repurposing thing. Now someone tweeted it today that I didn't even know they knew I did it. And what I realized was that like half of the women in the room, because I have everyone go around and introduce themselves, because all kinds of networking goes on with the women too. I met in fashion boutiques. I really didn't realize that. I said, "Where did you meet Cathy?" "Oh, I shop at blah, blah, blah," and I met her there. And I thought, wow, this is a really good source of clients for me, because I get clients from that. These women have money, they're buying high-end clothes, we have a lot in common, and so that's kind of organically, and I'm not going to these places to prospect. I'm going because I like to. But it turns out that there you are with the people that are like you, that you like, and they find out what you do, and then it's no different than going to a church. I can't believe I'm comparing a boutique to a church, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I think that face-to-face is still a great way to integrate your marketing. So to recap, as you can see, I am a huge fan of internet marketing, social media, and this whole concept of picking a niche. And I know for me, it's really completely transformed my practice, and it makes everything easier. And that's what I like about it. It makes a lot of things easier as far as my time and marketing dollars.
Okay,
All right.
looks like it's wrapped up. Thank you so much.